fresh off his highly successful program in Houston and getting ready for the holidays just like the rest of us. Sean Salisbury. Good morning, bud. How are you?
I'm doing.
Nope, I lost you. You there, Sean?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry. You broke up there for a second.
I said Merry Christmas, man. Good to be on with you.
I'm going to peel back the curtain, and my instincts, I know you very, very well, so I hope I hope I don't offend you by saying this. Last week, you were you took the, I don't know how else to say it. You were not on the show last week, and in large part because you were extremely broken up by a guy you were very close to. We got the news about Coach Leach live on the show, and listen, Sean, Northern California, Sacramento in particular, is not the biggest college football area, but he was special. He was he was a soundbite when you think of Sean. Guys like Earl Weaver, guys like Bobby Knight. I mean, you can go on and on with sound bites. I could listen to Coach Leach talk about anything from marriage to what mascot would win in the Pac-12 in an all-out brawl and on and on. And, oh, by the way, air raid, he was an incredibly intelligent football mind and also a lawyer. Now, I'm not saying that to you because you knew him. I'm saying that to the audience, and the fact that we can have you on to maybe talk about your relationship with Coach and how special he was is a real privilege for us.
Well, thank you. I consider it a privilege to have been a long time. From Mike Leach to my family is family. Mike and my brother were best friends in college. They're both my rugby, and my brother was a rugby player at BYU. And Mike went on to get his law degree at Pepperdine University, and we know about the background of his football career and how he got started into it. What you hear from Mike Leach, or what you've heard in the past about all those great sound bites and, talking about Winston Churchill while he's dialing up an air raid offense, is, in truth, that's not made up. Mike doesn't sit home. Now, Mike sits home and pontificates when he was alive about a lot of things, which makes him unique in itself, and he's a brilliant man. Matter of fact, probably too smart for all of us, right?
Right.
But he can think out of both sides of his brain at the same time. I had a hard time, and I'm still struggling with this badly because like I said, late night Mike, if you call him at 2 a.m, he will answer. Call Mike at 7 a.m, Mike's not going to answer. So late night, I've had some phenomenal football and life conversations with Mike, and he is family to my family. And I'm sickened by this because, and my brother said this about when my dad was dying, and my mother. My older brother's got a lot of wisdom. Mike's, one of his best friends, as I said, is then when my brother said it, it took me aback a little bit at my dad's memorial, at our funeral. He said, we were discussing, and he was giving a talk to the congregation, and he said, I've never been more grateful for a terminal disease than I am today. And you're thinking, well, what do you mean? And he, as ever, my brother said, because I got to say goodbye to my dad. A lot of people aren't fortunate enough to do that, meaning, whether it's a car accident or something like Mike. Imagine a family member that hadn't seen him in a month or two or talked to him in 2 weeks, and you hear this news going on and you can't talk to him, and a day and a half later, he's passed away. Imagine what that must be like. And people go through it every day, I know. But we were able to say goodbye knowing what the end result was going to be in my family, with my mom and dad. I was fortunate that I flew out. I've had in years because Mike comes to my golf tournament, but we haven't had it in a few years. And we had a great time. Needless to say, I had no idea that this was going to happen. Neither did anybody else, nor did Mike. So it is family, and it was gut-wrenching, and it still is. And his good wife and the kids, and I spent two of his kids were at when I was there to visit him. And Mike is just who he is. And the one thing, the humor, the dry sense of humor, the incredible personality, the great soundbite. But Mike, one thing people I think know but didn't enough is Mike's compassion, not only for people, but for society, everything about Mike Leach. And he can be tough, holding up chairs on the sidelines. He's a message sender, but there's a reason he does it. And this is the thing that hit me even the hardest. Please, I beg us all. I don't know why we have to celebrate and tell people how important they are to us when they die.
Yeah.
I don't know why we can't tell people how important they are to us when they're alive. And I made sure I did that with my dad. When I knew my dad was dying and there was he had about a week left, I threw a party for all the family and friends we had people coming from out of state to be because they loved my dad. They got to say goodbye to my dad while my dad was still sitting up and alive. And my dad, I asked him, he said, yeah, I wanted them to celebrate my dad so he could see his friends and his family. We need to do more of that. I miss Mike Leach. I've cried enough in the last week for all of us. And I know it happens to a lot of people. Mike was special to me, and I know special to the college football world. And some didn't get to say goodbye to him, and that's tragic.
I would say this, and I'm not trying to push the issue here, but just because I do love you so much, you've had, other than your family losses you've dealt with, but in between the ones we're aware of, Coach Leach, obviously John Clayton, over the last few months, couple years that you've had to deal with. And Sean, I imagine it's bittersweet, but knowing that you had such a close relationship with two guys like that, and we're one of the few people to actually be able to know them as deeply as you did, not only obviously is that an honor for you, but also I would imagine heals your heart a little bit that you knew these guys so well, you did spend time with them.
Absolutely. And I was going to mix in there in between also my best friend in my life from high school and all the way up passed away on Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah, that's right.
And last 2 years ago. So it's, we're at an age at times when it happens, but it happens to all ages. And I don't think you're ever prepared for it, Dave, but what I am grateful for is that I was able to be there and share times with people that I have lost. I talked to John every single week before he passed away. We were able to share and continue our laughs, and he went fast, unfortunately, but fortunately there was no suffering. But I was able to, over the last every single week we'd go on each other's show. So usually twice a week. And with Mike Leach, I'd have probably felt a lot worse. And had I not, and I still speak to him often, but had I not went to see him, and I questioned, do I really want to fly to Starkville, over the summer? And now you look back and say, you never know. Life's about moments. And a lot of times we regret the things we didn't do more than we did. And I'll sure as hell never regret going and spending about 3 or 4 hours with, well, it's longer than that, but the time we just sat talking with Mike Leach before, not knowing that this was going to happen 5 or 6 months later.
The last thing on that, Sean, when you eventually become the head coach of a major college program or in the NFL, and I'm 100% certain that will happen if you want it, how much of Coach Leach is going to be there in your headset?
A lot of it. I was the offensive coordinator. I was in Dallas this past week, Dave. Houston Nutt was the one coach, Scott Frost the other, for the U.S. Army All-American game in Dallas, Frisco, Texas, at the Star where Jerry's team practices. And we played Saturday in the Army All-American game on Bally's, and I was the offensive coordinator for Coach Nutt's side. And what a great week with both coaching staffs. But I called the plays for the entire game. We won and beat Scott Frost's team. And we had a special play for Coach Leach, which is his favorite, which is the mesh play. But a lot of the offense I ran, and it was inside zone, shallow crossers, slants, get it out on time, has Mike Leach's thumbprint all over it. And if and when I'm calling plays or head coach for somebody, nowadays we're not just one offense, we do a lot. You take the stuff from people you love and what they do, and Mike Leach's offense changed. I mean, think about Lawrence Taylor's performance to change linebackers, or Randy Moss wide receivers. What Mike Leach and Hal Mummy and that group did, and think about Lincoln Riley and Dana Holgerson, that tree of coaching, of what it's done. Yeah, Mike Leach has made an impact on college football that will last forever. We're never going back to not having ball come out quickly and throw it accurately. Mike was big on make me the common, simple play, and I've lived by that for a long time.
I look up and we're out of time, it makes me miss our old podcast days because we could do this for 3 hours.
Right,
I will get murdered by our local Niner fans if I let you off the phone without asking you a very simple question. Again, we're out of time, but I know we can truncate. Brock Purdy, really
in 30 seconds. Yep.
Brock Purdy, really week 3. You're the quarterbacks guy. What did you see out of him? Likes, dislikes, if at all, out of that Thursday night game?
I think that Brock understands if there's a weakness to stay out of it, and he's playing with confidence, and Kyle is not holding him down. Now, if you can throw 21, 22 times and win with that defense, great, but if they post 24 points and he protects the football, they're going to run through the NFC. nobody's going to score 4 touchdowns on them. I don't believe in the postseason or from here on out. But Brock Purdy's doing more than managing a game. He's using his feet and making plays. And I don't know when the last time I saw a rookie this poised under the circumstances, this quick. It's still a lot to go, but the early returns are you can win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy at quarterback as long as he protects the football.
My man, thank you so much for sharing those feelings this morning. And it's a lot of great messaging for people to hear, especially around the holidays. This will be our last conversation before Christmas. So, I love you immensely. Thank you so much for all you do for us.
Love you too, brother. Merry Christmas to you and all those who listen, and be healthy and be good to your family, and tell people you care about them, folks. It matters. Thanks, bud.
See you, buddy.